Alright, so this is video number 2 with a British accent. So we are talking about hyperbolas again, and in this case we're going to rewrite this equation in standard form, just like we did before, but you'll notice here that we have a minus 4x squared, we have a plus 9y squared. That means the y part is going to be positive, the x part is going to be negative, which means we're going to have a vertical transverse axis. So let's go ahead, let's write the standard form equation, let's sketch out the graph, and let's identify the key characteristics. So going from here, we are first going to combine the x parts, the y parts, and get that 125 to the other side of the equation. So putting the x's together, we shall get, let's get this color, minus 4x squared minus 32x plus 9y squared minus 90y equals negative 125. There we go. So now I'm going to go about completing the square for each x and for the y. In order to do that, we're going to factor out the negative 4 from the x squared, we're going to factor out the 9 from the y squared. So that will give us a negative 4 times x squared. Now here, I'm factoring out of the negative 32, I'm factoring out a negative 4. So negative 32 divided by a negative 4 is going to be a positive 8. So I'll go plus 8x. So I'm dividing a negative by a negative, and then we shall have a plus blank there. And then we get plus 9. Here we have y squared minus 10y plus blank, because negative 90 divided by 9 is a negative 10. And that equals negative 125 plus blank, minus blank plus blank. We are going to be subtracting 4 times whatever that number is, and we're going to be adding 9 times whatever that number is on the other side of the equation. So let's go ahead and get going. We divide this 8 by 2, that gives us 4. We square it, that gives us 16. 4 times 16 is 64, so we are going to be subtracting 4 16s, and we are subtracting 64 on this side. Now here we have negative 10. We're going to divide that by 2 to get to negative 5. Negative 5 squared is 25. We get a 25 right there. 25 times 9 is 25 less than 25 times 10, so that's a 225. 225. I believe that is correct. Let me double check my notes. Looks good. I believe so. Yes, yes, yes. And that will give us 36 when we combine all that together. Is that right? 25 times 9. Yeah, we are good. Minus 125, minus 64, 36. Wonderful. So here we have an equals 36. Here we have negative 4 times x plus 4 squared, because half of that is 4, plus 9 times y minus 5 squared equals 36. One more step to get to our standard form equations. We've got to divide by that 36 so that it's equal to 1. So we go through, we divide by 36, divide by 36, divide by 36, divide by 36. When I do this, I'm going to rearrange the equation so that the positive part, the y, is positive first, and then subtracting the second part. So we are going to get 9 divided by 36. That's going to give me 1/4. So I get y minus 5 squared over 4 plus x plus 4 squared over negative, it's not a plus, it's a negative, right? Because it's a negative 4 divided by 36 is going to be minus that over 9. So it's minus equals 1. There is our equation, standard form. All right, now we need to go about sketching out the graph and finding the other parts of the graph, of the hyperbola. So let's go ahead and find the center. The center is at opposite of the x, so negative 4, opposite of the y, comma 5, so negative 4, comma 5. So when I'm doing my graph, I want to make sure that that negative 4, 5 shows up on my graph. So I make sure that I got here and here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 4, comma 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is about right there. That's my center. Now in order to find my, it has a vertical transverse axis. So I know my vertices and my foci are going to be up and above and below that center. So I'm going to go A is going to be the number below the y part. So A squared equals 4. So A is going to equal 2, B squared is equal to 9, so B equals 3. So I'm going to go 2 above, 2 below to find my vertices. 1, 2. So 2 above is going to be right there, 2 below is going to be right there. Now I can write in where my vertices are. Vertices are going to be same x number of negative 4 for both, but I'm going to add and subtract 2 from the 5 because it's the a value of 2. So I have negative 4, 7. That's that vertex right there. And I have negative 4, comma 3. That's that vertex right there. Okay, now in order to finish graphing this, what I want to do is I want to find my asymptotes. So I can sketch out those asymptotes and then sketch out that curve of the hyperbola. In order to find the asymptotes, I need to use the b value. The b value is 3, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 to the right there. 1, 2, 3 to the right, to the left of the center, right there. I draw in my little rectangle right there, and then I drop in the diagonals of said rectangle. There we go. Now, we know that this has a vertical transverse axis, which means it's going to be going up and down from the center, not left to right. It's opening up and opening down. So in order to draw the graph of this, what I do is I start at the vertex, not at the focus. We haven't even graphed the focus yet. We just graphed the vertex. So we start at the vertex and we make it go curve toward the asymptote and then along the asymptote. Curve toward the asymptote and then along the asymptote. On the bottom, curve toward the asymptote, along the asymptote, curve toward the asymptote, and along the asymptote. So we get this kind of flat hyperbola shape. It's not a parabola, it's not going up, it's not going down, it's going along the asymptote. So as if you continue going out very, very far, it would look like two lines. It would look like a line, a line, a line, a line, with some curvy stuff in the middle. All right. Now we also need the foci and we need the equations of those asymptotes. So the foci are going to be c away from the center. Remember, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So it's 9 plus 4, which is 13. So c equals the square root of 13, which is between 3 and 4, because 13 is between 9 and 16. So square root of 13 is about, let's just put in the old calculator, 13 square root is about 3.6. So I'm going to go up 3.6, I'm going to go down 3.6 from my center for my focus. Now, I went 2 for my vertices, so I need to go about 1.5 or 1.6 more. So 1, 2, 3.6, that's a focus, and 3.6, that's another focus. I want to see these foci on your graphs, please. Okay, now we got the foci, and the way to write these, the foci, is we have the same x number of negative 4, but then we're taking the y number and we are adding square root of 13, or we are subtracting square root of 13, and we can just write our answers like that. Okay, now, asymptotes, equations of asymptotes. That's where I should have put that. So the asymptotes. Now, remember, for the equations for the asymptotes, we're going to use the point-slope formula, which is y minus b equals slope times x minus a. That's an a. Where a comma b is the point on the line and m is the slope of the line. Now, we have the point on the line is always going to be the center of the hyperbola. So, the center of the hyperbola is negative 4 comma 5. So, we get y minus 5 equals slope, we'll put that slope in, and then x plus 4. So each asymptote is going to have that set up. Y minus 5 equals something, x plus 4. Now we need to find the slope of each asymptote. And we have this set up because each asymptote goes through the center of the hyperbola. So, what is the slope of each asymptote? Well, let's look at this one with the positive slope. The positive slope, we are going to the right, our b value. Our b value here is 3. So the run is 3, and the rise is our a value, which is 2. So here the slope is 2/3. So I'm going to say y minus 5 equals 2/3 x plus 4. And then here, we are going down 2 as we go left to right and right 3. So here it's a negative 2/3 for that slope. So now we've answered all the parts that we needed to. We've got the equation, the center, the vertices, the foci, the equations of the asymptotes, both of them. Notice they are two separate equations. And then we sketched in our graph. All right, so that is that problem. We're going to do one more problem where we are given some information about the asymptotes. So we know information about the asymptotes, and we know what the vertices are, and we're going to write the equation, sketch graph, and so on for that. So let's go ahead and get to that. Here we go. Goodbye stuff. Wonderful maths getting erased. As they say in Spanish, adios. There we go. But you are, this maths is forever immortalized on YouTube. So we don't have to be sad that I erased it. Let it dry a little bit. Well, I'm not really letting it dry when I'm wiping it down with a wet cloth some more. Now it's time for it to dry. Here we go, here we go. More hyperbola stuff coming right up. I feel like I need a new drying one, because I feel like I'm just spreading more stuff around when I dry it out. Very well. Okay, wow, it's very, very dirty. There we go. Need to clean this more sufficiently. Okay, example 2. Sorry, it's kind of like example 4. It's example 2 from this video, but it's example 4 from odd videos. So here we go. We have vertices at 5, 2 and negative 3, 2. And we know that the asymptotes have slopes of plus or minus 1/2. So 1/2 or negative 1/2. So those are the slopes of our asymptotes, and that's all the information that we are given. Interesting. This is enough information for us to find the equation for our hyperbola. We can also sketch out the graph, and then we can also find the foci from this as well. It's a little bit tricky though, so bear with me. Okay, so let's start out just by sketching out the graph a little bit. We've got vertices of 5, 2 and negative 3, 2. Notice they have the same y value, right, the 2. So we're going to have a horizontal transverse axis because the x number is changing. So 5 and 2, so 5 and negative 3 are my x's, so I need to be a little bit above for the y. But I need a big X. There we go. So we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, negative 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 and 2 and negative 3 and 2. Those are my vertices. Now, in order to find my center, I just find the point that's in the center of those two vertices. You can either just count it in, or what you can do is you can take the average of the 5 and the negative 3 by going 5 plus negative 3 is positive 2. Divide by 2, you get 1. So here the center is going to be at 1, 2. In other words, it's 4 away from that one and it's 4 away from that one. It's in the middle. Alright, so now we've got, we can find our A value now. Our A value is 4. So here, A equals 4. And A is a horizontal distance. So starting writing out our equation, I want you to think to yourself, write down, what is the equation going to be like? Is it going to be x and then minus y squared? Is it going to be y squared minus x squared? Think about it. And then we're like, right, it's a horizontal transverse axis, so the x part is going to be the positive. We're subtracting the y part. So here we have x minus 1 squared over a squared. We know what a is. A is 4, so a squared is going to be 16. And then minus y minus 2 squared over b squared. We don't know what b is yet, so we're going to leave that blank. We're going to come back and fill it in later. So we're going to find out what that is later. All right. So what do we know? We also know that the slopes of these asymptotes are 1/2 or negative 1/2. Now here, if I'm going to draw in my asymptote, I know that the run of this asymptote is 4. So the A value is going to tell me my rise. So here the slope is positive 1/2, and that's going to be, in this case, the B over the A. So it's going to be B over 4. This is where we are thinking about, like, what number do I go divide that by 4 will simplify to 1/2. And you can be thinking about it, be like, well, it's 2. 2 over 4 is 1/2. 2/4 is 1/2. Or you can multiply by 4 on both sides. Get 4 divided by 2, that's 2. So here, that tells us B equals 2, which means B squared equals 4. So we put a 4 under that, and we can continue with our graph. We go 2 up, 2 down, we get run of 4, rise of 2, for an asymptote, run of 4, rise of 2, for an asymptote, run of 4, rise of negative 2, for that asymptote. Like that. So we've got our asymptotes graphed in there. Now we can sketch in the actual graph of the hyperbola. Let's do this one in, let's say, I don't know, how about yellow? Yellow, hello. We go here and we curve, and then we follow the asymptote. So we curve and then follow the asymptote. Start at the vertex, curve and follow the asymptote, curve and follow the asymptote. Lastly, we need to know where our foci are so we can graph them and then say where the foci are. So for the foci, they're going to have the same y number because we have a horizontal transverse axis. We need to know the c value for this. So here, we need to know c squared equals 16 plus 4, which is 20. So c equals square root of 20. We know that 4 divides into 20. 4 times 5 is 20. So we can factor out that square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. So it's 2 square roots of 5. Right, you're like 20 is 4 times 5. Square root, square root, square root. Square root of 4 is 2. That's where the 2 root 5 comes from. So for the foci, they're going to be 2 root 5 away from the center, which is square root of 20 is a little bit bigger than 4, smaller than 5, probably like 4.4. I'm just going to check it real quick. 20 to the 0.5 is about 4.47. So when I'm graphing it, I'm going to be 4.47 away, so like right there, because we're like 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little bit more. So the foci are these red dots, so focus right there, focus right there, and the points are going to be the center, which is 1 plus 2 root 5, comma 2, or 1 minus 2 root 5, comma 2. Those are my two foci. And now we've got all that we need. Now I know I don't ask for it, I don't think so, but we can write the equations for the asymptotes as well, just to get a little more practice with that. So the equations for the asymptotes, ooh, it's a little bit squeaky, sorry about squeakiness, I'm going to change pens to the back of this white pen. Remember, it's always going to be y minus b equals slope times x minus a, where a comma b is actually h comma k. I guess you could write it as y minus k equals m times x minus h. Right, just using point slope form, where the point that they go through is the center of the hyperbola. So one of the asymptotes is going to be y minus 2 equals slope is 1/2 times x minus 1. The other one is y minus 2 equals negative 1/2 times x minus 1. There we go. Beautiful. So you should be able to do all of the problems now on the assignment. There is a fun bonus problem. I challenge you to do it. It's interesting. You need some fun knowledge of different parts of maths than just what we've talked about in these videos. So please try it. If you goof up a little bit on some of the stuff in problems 1 through 4, like let's say you accidentally, I don't know, add the wrong number or something for your focus and it's a little bit goofed off, or it's a little bit off, then having done that bonus problem can still give you full credit on the whole assignment. So please email me if you have questions or come into office hours. And I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you enjoyed the accent, and please give me some feedback on how these are. That is, if you're watching these videos all the way to the end. Wonderful, have a jolly good day. Cheers.